Hello everyone, welcome back to Almighty Blues FC, a fan channel for all to see. Well, before I begin, just quick housekeeping. Yes, there have been electricity issues again at my place, so hopefully we will go through smooth. But of course, we have a panel waiting. But even before that, right? Anyone watching, please smash that like button as well as subscribe. Just a button, like I always say, right? And that's something that we are on the way to 1K, and I would really request, of course, आपका ही help है कि we have been doing so many streams of late, and of course you all have been loving. So yes, kudos to that. Of course, I'm not very happy being a Chelsea fan. कोई भी Chelsea fan अभी काफी निराश है. Just not on the pitch उसके reason, right? There are a lot of off the pitch reasons because which हर एक Chelsea fan सोच रहा है कि is it really fair what's happening? Like a lot of thoughts going on. And of course, we will be discussing a lot of Chelsea. But why are we here? Of course, it is the midweek fixtures, Carabao Cup. Carabao Cup quarterfinals. I know it's cup competition, a tournament not everyone is really too excited about. लेकिन मेरे लिए every cup competition is as important, and not only us, right? As in lot of other clubs. There is Arsenal playing. There is of course West Ham, Tottenham, Liverpool, Leicester, we'll be discussing lots. तो हाँ, बने रहना last तक क्योंकि we are expecting two special guests to join us from Liverpool, from Leicester, and yes, people in the comments already guess कर चुके हैं if you have seen the description. But again, do share the stream क्योंकि ज़्यादा लोग हो तो हम ज़्यादा interact कर पाएंगे क्योंकि आज बहुत सारा discussion करना है. And I would like to quickly wish Ben Chilwell a very happy birthday. Yes, it's Ben Chilwell's birthday. Of course, Chelsea player who's injured. Unfortunately injured, लेकिन hopefully will be back soon. And of course, Ashley Cole का birthday था yesterday as well as Jorginho. So yes, I hope you had a great one. And I'll not keep the panel waiting क्योंकि आज for such an important discussion, yes, there's Brentford, Chelsea and lots more. But first and foremost, of course, Almighty Blues FC पहले Chelsea के बारे में बात करना चाहेगा. So we have from Football Parliament, Chirag and Palash. Chirag, Palash, welcome to Almighty Blues FC. कैसे हो? Chirag,
Thank you, Bia.
last day.
Thank you, Bia. Thank you.
My pleasure,
It's
my pleasure.
really happy. We are really happy. Both me and Palash are really happy to be here. And obviously, आपसे बात करके it's always happy feeling. मतलब Chelsea family, extended family.
Of course, of course, of course. And again,
डेफिनेटली
उससे पहले
काफी टाइम से
yeah. Yes, Palash, please go ahead.
नहीं just appreciate ही कर रहा था काफी टाइम से we've been looking at your content as well, and not just the content on YouTube, your entire promotion thing on Instagram as well and all. It's very attractive, and definitely everyone who is seeing the stream should already be subscribed to Almighty Blues FC.
Yeah, hopefully, or of course, not only us, Almighty Blues FC तो है ही, लेकिन उसके अलावा I think obviously big up to of course Football Parliament. Like मैं बोलना चाहूँगा for people watching, Football Parliament is very different, and I know it's cliche, but they are very different क्योंकि the kind of topics they bring, the name itself suggests, right? Football Parliament, as in those are really interesting topics. Or obviously, it has been long time pending हमारा podcast, so finally, they are here, and hopefully I'll be on soon as well. So definitely do check out Football Parliament as well. The link, as always, is below. Definitely, worth a subscription. Again, doesn't cost you anything. So big up to Solo, brother. Big up the Almighty. Yes, of course. And of course, big up to you and your channel as well. Mansi Talks. Great show. Yes, great channel yourself. And of course, Ocean Singh, who's been waiting. Or Kuch Aur Jan. And yes, कहाँ से शुरू करें आज? तो definitely, I think it's Brentford, Chelsea. लेकिन उससे भी पहले आई थिंक चिराग मैं करना चाहूंगा शुरू फ्रॉम द एफए. नाउ लॉट ऑफ थॉट्स टूकल का बेसिकली बॉडी लैंग्वेज क्लियर था. आई नो वुल्व्स गेम वी डिड रिव्यू ऑन द चैनल, लेकिन बिफोर दैट वुल्व्स गेम टूकल लिटरली वेंट ऑन रिकॉर्ड सेइंग दैट 7 लोग हैं जो कोविड पॉजिटिव आए थे जस्ट बिफोर द गेम. और उसके अलावा आई थिंक 3 लोग जबरदस्ती मतलब इंजरीज के बाद दे आर जस्ट पुल्ड देम बैक. सो आई डोंट नो, लाइक फॉर मी, like literally how every Chelsea fan and every kind of what do you say as in football fan in general, like a neutral, but they would really feel that it is this.
It's not fair. It's not fair that like this is even something that I think anyone has to go through.
Yeah, करीबन मैं हर एक स्ट्रीम में बजा रहा हूँ क्योंकि it's definitely not fair being a Chelsea fan, like what. लेकिन उससे भी पहले चिराग, before you go in, I don't know if you guys heard. मतलब Jurgen Klopp, I think before the Spurs Liverpool game was asked as well, and he says that Chelsea, oh come on, they had Kovacic on the bench, they played a strong team. Really? Like I don't know यार चिराग क्या लगता है मतलब I think Manchester United, Wolves, I think Burnley, Brentford सब लोग को basically leeway मिला है. Spurs as well, they had matches cancelled. ये bias का logic कहाँ से आया चिराग according to you?
बट मेरे हिसाब से दिस इज नॉट ऑन द क्लब्स, इट इज मोर ऑन एफए जिनको बस पैसा चाहिए. लाइक अब हम अनलकी है कि चेल्सी के प्लेयर्स पॉजिटिव केसेस आ रहे हैं. इफ किसी और क्लब के आ रहे होते दे वुड हैव बीन ऑन द सफरिंग साइड, क्योंकि एफए को पैसा चाहिए. दे आर नॉट बायस्ड ऑन समथिंग कि हमें पैसा नहीं मिल रहा या उनको पैसा नहीं मिल रहा. आई विल से एंड चेल्सी का फिर किस्मत आपको पता है एफए को लेके थोड़ी ज़्यादा ही अच्छी है कि हमें कभी भी प्रेफरेंस नहीं मिलती. एंड यर्गन क्लॉप गोइंग एंड सेइंग कि उसके पास प्लेयर्स नहीं है एंड स्टिल हमारे पास प्लेयर्स हैं. ही हैड अ कॉम्पिटिटिव स्क्वाड टू एटलीस्ट फेस स्पर्स. और हमारे पास हमने पता है 10 मेन टीम प्लेयर्स हमारे गायब थे. वी हैड टू प्ले विद 13 प्लेयर्स. हमारे 4 बंदों की बेंच थी, 5 बंदों की, जिसमें 2 कीपर्स थे. सो इट सेज एवरीथिंग अबाउट कि हमारे पास क्या यूटिलिटीज थी. एंड टूकल टर्म्ड इट वेरी वेल कि he was happy कि प्लेयर्स ने जो परफॉर्मेंस दिखाई. ही इज नॉट प्रेशराइजिंग हिज प्लेयर्स, नीदर इज द बोर्ड प्रेशराइजिंग कि तुम इस सिचुएशन में भी हमें रिजल्ट दो. ऑब्वियसली जो हुआ वो फेयर नहीं था. एफए की गेम में वुल्फ से पहले हमने एक रिक्वेस्ट भी डाली एंड वी वर द ओनली क्लब जिसकी रिक्वेस्ट कैंसिल हुई. मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड की पहले रिक्वेस्ट एक्सेप्ट हुई है. ब्रेंटफोर्ड का तो एक लॉन्ग हॉलीडेज बना के आ रहे हैं. हॉलीडेज नहीं बोलूंगा लेकिन दे हैव टेकन अ वीकेंड ऑफ पूरा प्रॉपर. तो उनको आराम से अपनी लिबर्टी मिली है टू वर्क. Palash, what do you think? Like, what happens in the Brentford game? Are you expecting like कि ऐसी ही चीजें चले?
मतलब I
Firstly, you
don't know,
mentioned
like
about yeah.
go ahead.
I was saying that Chirag ने Jurgen Klopp का mention किया, and Klopp coming out and saying that Chelsea were able to field a strong lineup seems very एकदम unrelated लगता है मुझे, because कोई choice से थोड़ी ना की है. We were forced to do that. Would Thomas Tuchel risk a player as important as N'Golo Kante when he knows he's not 100% fit? So this was a very vague thing. If you look at Liverpool's bench against Tottenham, then it was much better than what Chelsea could bench against Wolves. Maybe you could say कि Chelsea को जब गोल चाहिए था तब वो कौन से प्लेयर्स को ला पा रही थी? साउल निगवेस को ला पा रही थी, रॉस बार्कली टाइप के प्लेयर्स को ला पा रही थी. So according to me, all clubs are equally bad hit. हाँ, थोड़े clubs थोड़े ज्यादा होंगे, and I personally think Chelsea वो जो ज्यादा वालों में से ही आती है in terms of COVID cases.
हाँ मतलब definitely fair point. लेकिन पलाश, I know sticking to you, मतलब what do you think? मतलब I know there have been reports saying that a lot of under 23 and academy players kind of have been roped in training में. I don't know if they will really feature in the Brentford game. लेकिन generally मतलब क्या लगता है मतलब in terms of basically the youngsters coming in, like there is a bubble and all that. तो ये मतलब is it really fair to put them at risk and put the team at risk? I think even like we'll touch upon Tuchel's presser. I think Lewis Baker is one player who was in the squad initially, but then was training with under 23s recently, and then again was roped in. वो COVID positive निकला. तो क्या guarantee वो लोग बाकी लोग को नहीं करे? तो the FA kind of thinking about them having bigger squads is really a farce, right? What is your opinion about youngsters?
नहीं, 100%. Actually, मैं जब initially last 2 games देखा, we had a clear lack of attackers on the bench. जो 3 attackers खेल रहे थे उसमें भी Pulisic was a false 9 बोल दो, जो मेरे हिसाब से Pulisic की बेस्ट पोजीशन बिल्कुल नहीं है. तो मेरे दिमाग में सबसे पहले तो ये आया कि बेंच में डोंट वी हैव अंडर 23 रिजर्व्स प्लेयर्स टू कॉल अपॉन. मैं दोनों गेम में आया बिकॉज आई वॉच चेल्सी PL2 में थोड़ा. ठीक है, द टीम इजंट परफॉर्मिंग रियली वेल, बट थोड़े प्लेयर्स है, स्पेशली अटैकर्स. वन प्लेयर आई नेम जूड सुनसेप बेल, एंड देयर आर मोर अटैकर्स हु आर रियली प्रॉमिसिंग. बट देन afterwards when I realized, when I read थोड़ा, जैसे you gave the example of Lewis Baker right now, कि ऐसा क्यों omit किया जा रहा था, उन्हें क्यों मतलब दूर रखा जा रहा था, and this is probably the reason why we saw it with Lewis Baker. But ठीक है, according to reports now Tuchel is forced to look into the under 23s, and क्या ही बोल सकते हैं. I'll just hope that all of them are safe. What else?
हाँ आई नो, मतलब मैं कमेंट्स में देख रहा हूँ क्योंकि चेल्सी पर्सपेक्टिव, अगेन बिग अप टू चेल्सी पर्सपेक्टिव एंड एनीवन हु जॉइन एशियन सेंसेशनल FC, जस्ट वायला, 8744, thanks for joining. And of course, stay till the end क्योंकि हम बहुत ज़्यादा discuss करने वाले, not just Chelsea, like I said earlier, but a lot more. Yes, Chelsea perspective, we'll come to the Tuchel's presser in detail as well. Lekin before that, a couple of more questions that I have. Chirag, I would like to ask you. Like, this is more like an opinion, more like a discussion that we can quickly have, because like vaccination, like it's a very gray area, or you can say it's a very sensitive area. I know people in the UK, again, anyone people who kind of are residing in the UK, please आप comment करो. Let us know what is your opinion, क्योंकि it's for me just like staying for, I feel it's kind of weird कि government अभी तक kind of mandatory push नहीं कर रही थी for general people to take vaccinations. And again, I don't want to be very political in this discussion, लेकिन like, yeah, they have told, I think, crowd ko ki, they have to get a test, and a negative test is something that they would be only then allowed in the stadiums. Again, क्या guarantee है कि when they come for the match, they don't kind of get the infection रास्ते में. Like literally anything could happen, and then that Harvard's का जो हुआ, पहले negative आया था, फिर बाद में positive आया 2 दिन के बाद में. So like again, at some point maybe दो ही solution दिखता है मेरे को, चिराग. I don't know your opinion. For me, it is about either आप खाली stadiums के साथ खेलो जो हुआ था 1.5 साल पहले, or you basically have a reaction, and maybe as a result miss some matches. Some matches will probably get forfeited. I don't know. What is your opinion? Given a choice, what would you like? Would you be okay to watch matches with empty stadiums, or you would be okay to for them to cut some matches at all?
सी फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आपने जो वैक्सीनेशन की बात करी, मी बीइंग ए मेडिकल प्रोफेशनल, मेरा बायस रहेगा कि तुम वैक्सीनेशंस लो. लाइक आई एम रेजिंग दिस इंडिया में भी या फिर यूके में भी, दे शुड बी गोइंग फॉर वैक्सीनेशंस. बट ऑब्वियसली सबकी अपनी प्रेफरेंसेस हैं. दे आर नॉट गोइंग फॉर द थिंग्स दैट दे आर वैक्सीनेशन वाला के लिए. बट गोइंग ऑन टू द गेम, एज अ न्यूट्रल फैन पर्सपेक्टिव, एज अ फैंस पर्सपेक्टिव, मैं गेम्स देखना चाहूंगा टीवी पे बैठ के. बट इज इट इवन फेयर फॉर प्लेयर्स? लाइक हमारे लिए प्लेयर्स की हेल्थ इज मच मोर इंपॉर्टेंट. आप ब्रेक ले सकते थे. यू शुड हैव गिवन अ एटलीस्ट अ वीक और 2 वीक्स ब्रेक, जहाँ पे आप चेन तोड़ सकते थे. दैट वी आर ऑलवेज टॉक अबाउट कोविड रिलेटेड थिंग्स में. आप चेन तोड़ देते हैं, देन यू शुड हैव कंटिन्यूड. बट नाउ इफ दे हैव सेड कि हमें कंटिन्यू करना है, सो पैसा चाहिए, तो दे आर इन नो सेंस गोइंग टू बैन द फैंस इन एनी वे, मेरे हिसाब से. क्योंकि पैसा फेस्टिव सीजन में आता फैंस से ही है. इट्स नॉट अबाउट कि फिक्सचर्स इतने स्पाइसी है कि तुम्हें ब्रॉडकास्टर ज़्यादा पैसे देगा. इट्स मोर अबाउट कि तुम्हें फैंस से ही पैसा मिलेगा जो स्टेडियम्स भरेंगे. ऑब्वियसली एक कोविड रिपोर्ट मंगा लेना इज, आई डोंट नो इन हाउ मच सेंस इट मेक्स देन हैप्पी कि एक कोविड रिपोर्ट से कितनी चीज़ें बच जाएंगी. इवन इनफैक्ट अब तुम अगर जैब्ड भी हो गए, यू हैव अ चांस कि तुम्हें वो ओमाइक्रॉन तुम्हें हिट कर सके. सो आई डोंट नो कि दिस इज रियली बीइंग हेल्पफुल और नॉट. बट आई फील कि 1-2 हफ्ते रोक देना चाहिए था. एंड इट्स नॉट जस्ट चेल्सी बायस, इट्स बायस फॉर प्लेयर्स एंड इट्स फॉर कोचिंग स्टाफ, जिनकी हेल्थ की केयर हमें ही करनी पड़ेगी.
एकदम सही. और आई थिंक वी हैव प्रसन्ना इन द हाउस एज वेल एज अमित. बिग अप टू यू. तो प्रसन्ना, हाँ, हमने वही डिस्कस किया था शुरुआत में. आई थिंक प्रसन्ना इज अ फ्यू मिनट्स लेट, बट ऑफ कोर्स यू कैन रीवॉच द स्ट्रीम. एज इन द फैक्ट इज, या मतलब लुइस बेकर का केस इज व्हाट वी एग्जैक्टली डिस्कस, प्रसन्ना. एंड वी विल गेट टू डिटेल्स एज वेल. एंड या लेट्स मूव ऑन. आई थिंक या मतलब एफए के बारे में बात तो हम आई थिंक पूरे दिन कर सकते हैं. आई डोंट वांट टू काइंड ऑफ स्टिक टू इट बिकॉज वी ऑल नो Chelsea is hated and we love being hated. Whatever be it, that's a fact. Like, let's be honest.
That's
Lekin
our
हाँ,
motivation.
yes, absolutely. Brentford versus Chelsea. Now again, for me, it's a it's more than a banana skin. A few things that I would like to say. Now, in the last 6 matches that we have played a Premier League side in the League Cup, 5 have gone to penalties, right? Literally lucky draw hai penalties for me, and that's like in itself, not great, I would say. And then what? In terms of the form, मतलब identical hai almost. I think Brentford have lost 1 game, drawn 2, and won 2 games. Literally same Chelsea ka hai. In fact, even the teams, Brentford have played Watford, Leeds. Watford, Leeds, 2 teams हमने भी खेला है. Then I think they lost to Spurs. We lost to West Ham, and coincidentally Spurs और West Ham खेलने वाले हैं, and we will be talking about that in the latter part of the stream. And then they played Everton and Newcastle. So instead of Newcastle, we played Wolves, and that's the most recent one. And that's why, because Brentford का recent victory रहा है, Palash, I don't know, like considering that, as well as Chelsea के injuries, illnesses, and the fact that ये away game है, this is at Brentford Community Stadium. Like, to me, it actually for once is seeming like Brentford are favorites. Would you go with that, Palash?
नहीं, I still won't call Brentford favorites, but हाँ, ये भी नहीं बोलूंगा कि Chelsea are favorites. I think it's very even, slightly edged towards Chelsea. And one thing that I'll add is कि I've heard many fans say कि ये tin pot trophy है, नहीं चाहिए, don't risk the Premier League. That's not true according to me. At the end of the day, it's still a silverware that's going to go to your trophy cabinet. And end में सब लोग trophy cabinet ही देखते हैं. And with the fact that both of the Manchester clubs, City, United, are already knocked out of, the Carabao Cup. Liverpool, ठीक है, उनका first team is probably even better than ours. But in a competition like Carabao Cup, जिसमें you play your second team, I don't think Liverpool की second team is better than our second team, if I'm being honest. I think we saw it 2 years back when both Liverpool and Chelsea की second teams met. उसमें I think Willian and Ross Barkley were the 2 goal scorers.
Billy Gilmore became the goat more.
Billy Gilmore का वो impressive debut था. So I think Chelsea genuinely have a very good shot at this competition because सच बोलूं तो फिर मतलब Premier League तो थोड़ा हाथ से निकलता हुआ दिख रहा है UCL से.
Yeah, as in people you heard it there. मतलब सच्चाई निकल के आ रही है पलाश धीरे-धीरे. Hopefully we are proven wrong. As Chelsea fans, we would want to have that. And of course, people in the chat do take a poll, and this is about the Carabao Cup favorites for you, like just going by what the results have been, and we'll go through that. Yes, as in terms of basically our run-in, मेरे ख्याल से it's not been really smooth for us क्योंकि obviously we have beaten Aston Villa and Southampton again on penalties. Brentford, on the other hand, have had fairly easier run, but I think they have been more convincing in terms of the victories they've got in the League Cup till now. And again, in terms of Brentford and Chelsea meeting, we all remember that kind of match that we had at Brentford Community Stadium in October. I remember. So Mendy was a hero, Ben Chilwell was a hero, and Ben Chilwell, like we mentioned in the earlier part of the stream, he's obviously out. Talking about let's cover the injuries, right? As in obviously Tuchel का press conference के हिसाब से, I believe obviously was I think around 7 people they are still under quarantine and isolation में रहेंगे 10 दिन के लिए. I think that includes Kai Havertz, Lukaku, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Timo Werner, and I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek is still injured and Christensen as well is still injured. So those are 6. Lekin the effect of actually playing those midfielders we did against Wolves has taken its toll. Kyunki Chalobah is now injured. Ziyech, I know, was slightly injured, but I'm hoping and praying that he's just about fit. And Tuchel did not mention him, so I'm just counting on him. Jorginho, now this is funny. Jorginho was actually, I think, पहले positive था, then उसको घर भेजा गया, then finally retest हुआ, and then now is negative. So he might be rushed back to the team. That's what I would say. And apart from that, as in Kante, he played 90 minutes, so I'm really going to be very surprised अगर वो खेलेगा. I think Tuchel mentioned in the press conference that possibly Kante will not play. Kovacic similarly was rushed back, so it'll be kind of interesting to see whether Kovacic is rushed back against Brentford, because again we don't want to kind of go to penalties. Or I think in the cups as well we have met Brentford, right? As in FA Cup 2017, anyone remembers we got a 4-0 victory. लेकिन 2013 में it was a 2-all draw with Oscar and Torres scoring, and replay में we finally won 4-0. So Brentford on paper they haven't beaten us in cups ever, technically speaking. So I don't know. Like considering we have Aston Villa Boxing Day के लिए Chirag, I think, if I'm not wrong. So do you think Tuchel will experiment with the youngsters? I think some of them. Mbayamba is a decent centre half, I know. Then I think Harvey Vale is a decent attacker. You actually see Tuchel playing with those youngsters?
Yeah, I completely see them because
so let
he
me actually
doesn't have choice. So if you कि होगा ऐसा कि उसको खिलाने ही पड़ेंगे, and you might even not see Mendy. You said कि Mendy was our hero. You will see him.
Correct. Yeah, that's interesting because this is what I have kind of predicted going by whatever Tuchel generally goes with. ना मतलब वो strong team ही खिलाता है. बहुत rarely होता है कि youngster के साथ शुरू करता है. Saul I'm having because he had a decent performance. लेकिन I know I put in Thiago Silva. Again, people in the chat, do let me know what is your opinion in terms of the Chelsea team here. I know it's Brentford, it's the Carabao Cup, but it's a knockout. So for me, I would go with Palash, what he said previously, Chirag, and I would actually want to take it seriously. Malang Sarr is someone who had a decent, very good performance. In fact, Brentford ke saath, if you remember. So I know Zenit wala game is something that you don't want to remember. Lekin again, any particular changes, Chirag, you see to this particular team?
Definitely, like I am not seeing Mount playing tomorrow.
Okay.
टुकल ने क्लियर कर दिया था कि आई एम नॉट रिस्किंग एनी ऑफ माय प्लेयर्स फॉर उनकी हेल्थ के साथ मैं नहीं कुछ भी करूंगा. सिल्वा इज डेफिनेटली नॉट प्लेइंग विद द एज दैट ही इज गोइंग ऑन. Ziyech का if that is a serious knock, I really don't know. Or can Saul actually play alongside a Jorginho? Because Saul for me is a perfect Jorginho replacement जो हमने पिछले गेम में देखा. He can play with a player like Kante. So I feel कि Jorginho की जगह we can see Barkley. Barkley is on the bench for long now. Like this is the perfect game you have to use him. और कोई option नहीं है तुम्हारे पास. And maybe one or two youngsters will be there. At the in the defense line, you can see a Mbuyamba either not starting Silva. I can say that, and maybe a youngster up front in attack. I really don't know कि इस formation से हम जाएंगे नहीं जाएंगे. Either if Harvey Vale is available, he might be put in because उसने first team के साथ पहले भी training करी है. So Harvey Vale might be an option here.
Interesting. Matlab, again, a lot of talks there. I don't know, people in the chat, what do you all think? Yes, Christian Sanchez, so Silva has to play. Like, I have a shout, like Mbayamba, again, like being a Dutch fan maybe, but the guy actually can play in the center of the back three. Wo is like,
Yeah.
they say that he's potential Van Dijk, kind of mold player. So, Mbayamba, I don't know, maybe this is the game that we blood him, but I don't know, very risky Brentford ke saath. So, talking about risks, Palash, as in, what do you think will be the Brentford key, kind of attacking as in prowess? For me, or 3-5-2 खेलते हैं वो लोग, तो any particular players that we need to be really careful about, and what do you think will be their tactic?
सबसे पहले तो मैं जब ये चेल्सी लाइनअप देखता हूँ एंड व्हाट हैपेंड व्हेन द लास्ट टाइम वी फेस्ड देम, दे completely, especially in the second half, spammed our box with crosses, with long throws and all. And usme I first see Kepa Arrizabalaga, who's not the best, collector or receiver of crosses in the world. I think he is 6'1" or 6'2" hai, which is not really tall for a goalkeeper. Mendy was providing us that, but we know Kepa is going to start because Carabao Cup hai. Even Malang Sarr sometimes, although he played really well against Brentford last time, I think it was Zenith, just उसका ही clearance था which came out to. तो ये मेरे को लगता है कि थोड़ा aerially struggle कर सकती है Chelsea. We mentioned about Mbuyamba. He is 5. Oh, sorry, I'm not 5. He's very tall. I think I don't have the exact height, but I'm pretty sure कुछ 6'4", 6'5" है वो. Yeah, 6'5" है वो. So maybe he can provide us the aerial dominance that we so clearly need, because third centre back Aspilicueta again is not the tallest. So I think this can be a strategy for Brentford, जो काफी games में होता है. Good news for them is that Ivan Toney is back from his quarantine. So Toney, although he's not very tall, but he's got a fantastic leap. He is very dominant aerially, and I think he can be a major threat for our centre backs.
And one more thing, like you both are pitching in for Mbuyamba. There's one more centre back, Fiabema. He has been at the academy before Mbuyamba. Mbuyamba ने recently joined करा, and he's rated highly, मतलब higher than Mbuyamba. So maybe you can see Brian being starting rather than Mbuyamba. So don't be surprised if you do not know a player on Chelsea's pitch tomorrow. That's definitely going to happen. एक ना एक player आपको मिलेगा जिसको आप नहीं जानते होगे कभी भी, either on the bench or either on the pitch.
Well, let's see. मतलब काफी interesting calls है. मतलब I don't mind them as long as basically वो structure. मतलब again, going by the structure, I have just gone with 3-4-2-1 क्योंकि Tuchel we know कि he will not experiment at this point in the season when things are already kind of this way. As in maybe there is a debate again. People in chat do let me know, like आप चाहोगे कि Tuchel actually changes the formation. Maybe it's an excuse for him to change the formation, but yeah, as in I wouldn't mind either way, to be very honest. But as in I don't want it to go to penalties again, because I just kind of feel my gut says that we won't be third time lucky. I know we have Kepa, but I think 2 penalty shootout wins. I don't see a third time happening. So quick predictions. Let's get into predictions. People in the chat again, do comment your predictions. Firstly, Palash, what do you think is going to happen in this game?
Firstly, you mentioned कि penalties में सिर्फ luck तो रहता नहीं है. There is a lot of
Yeah, of course.
skill. There's a lot of research that goes behind it. Now that we've had 2 penalty shootouts in this competition and one in the Super Cup, the opposition goalkeeper, the opposition tactician will be aware कि हमारे penalty takers का क्या strength है, क्या limitations है, where are they usually hitting the ball. जैसे Mason Mount का मैं बोलूँगा वो काफी short run up लेता है. वो short run up की वजह से वो अपना body angle इतना wide नहीं कर पाता है जिसकी वजह से वो गोलकीपर के काफी सेंट्रल आता है शॉट. ये हम लोग ने देखा जब उसका नॉर्विच के अगेंस्ट पेनल्टी सेव हुआ था व्हिच वाज लेटर रीटेकन. देन इवन द लास्ट गेम कौन सा था उसमें फ्रेजर फॉस्टर ने उसका पेनल्टी सेव किया. सो दिस कैन प्ले अ पार्ट. दिस कैन डेफिनेटली प्ले अ पार्ट. I'll be optimistic. I want Chelsea to lift this cup because मेरे को Chelsea का एक ट्रॉफी लेस सीजन नहीं देखना. Being very honest, अभी 2016-17 से Chelsea has been winning a trophy every season, barring that transfer ban season. उसको हम लोग excuse कर सकते हैं. So I really don't want to see Chelsea go trophyless this season. मैं वो Super Cup को count नहीं करूँगा. So I really want Chelsea to win this game. अगर penalties हुए तो हुए, but कैसे भी करके जीत जानी चाहिए.
Yes. Definitely crossing fingers. Chirag, your score prediction?
See, first of all, Palash, I am just going for prediction. तूने बोला trophyless season नहीं होना चाहिए. Anyone in the chat can go and check out. Season के बाद we will be having 2 trophies. एक भी trophy कम रही ना, you can go and comment on the football parliament के किसी भी एक वीडियो में. I'll reply you personally. 2 trophies आ रही हैं इस season. And also talking about scores tomorrow, Thomas Frank ने बोला he is going all out tomorrow. तो as Tuchel भी ना, I will be happy for a 0-0 draw. I will go into मुझे चाहिए कि मैं अपनी स्ट्रेंथ पे खेलूं. जिन्हों भी मेरी पेनल्टीज टेकर्स में होगा. सो आई फील पेनल्टीज में जाएगा एंड चेल्सी इज टेकिंग इट ऑन पेनल्टीज.
Wow. Dramatic. चलो कोई नहीं, we will take that as long as we kind of proceed and have something positive going, क्योंकि हमें ज़्यादा positive मिला नहीं है. So yes, guys, again, people in the chat, do comment your predictions and we'll come back to them for sure. And we have just clipped Chirag there. So let's see how it is. Yes, definitely no one's underestimating, लेकिन हाँ, we all know how football is, and especially situation. So yes, quickly, I know that football parliament, that is Palash and Chirag, have to go. And we have, of course, a couple of fans also waiting on that I've been, eagerly, wanting to get on. But before you guys go, Chirag, firstly, maybe you can talk something about the channel, and again, thanks a lot for coming on.
It's been great to be on Ankit Bhiya's channel. Ankit Bhiya has been a great mentor to all of us. Like the videos he makes, the way he promotes things. Definitely it takes a lot of heart to do such things and a lot of effort as well. So anyone in the chat, do do subscribe. And if you're not subscribing, I do not know how you're even sitting in this live chat. You should be subscribing to his channel. And talking about our channel, me and Palash
साथ में
try to
हमारे
give you.
चैनल पे भी सब्सक्राइब कर देना.
Talking about our channel, me and Palash, we run a channel where we try to give you the best content, cover all the things that are possible, a bit different content as well, जो हम अपने profession से relate कर पाएं, या फिर anything that is possible for us. So it will be great if you could subscribe to our channel as well. So thank you, Bia.
No, it's definitely a pleasure. And Palash, again, thanks for joining. And hopefully we'll have a lot more conversation. Maybe after we kind of win this round, and maybe you never know. Excitement is something that we always want to share. We don't want to be down and gloomy all the time, no? So yes, wish you all the best as well for the channel. Of course, people do
Thank
check
you
it
so
out.
much.
Link is always below. And yes, and then we will see them very soon. Till next time, take care, guys.
Bye, Bia.
Okay, so as we said, Chirag and Palash, bye. I think we definitely have 2 people waiting, and of course, that is because there is another big game that is going to happen. Here we have Brad for the first time on Almighty Blues FC, and of course, Michael. Brad first, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Ankit. Thanks for having me on. It's good to be on the channel at long last. How are you? You doing all right?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, thanks for your patience. I know, Brad, you've been waiting, but yes, definitely looking forward to the chat, because a lot of things going on in terms of football. Like we just discussed about the FA, and the referees is something that we will be discussing on as well. So stay tuned, people. And I'm sure Michael will have a say there. Michael, I know you've been unwell, so really thanks for joining. I hope you're feeling better.
Not really the best, to be honest, at this moment. I've had a horrible flu the last couple of days. Thankfully, it's not COVID, but I'm not feeling the greatest, but I'm here. I need to discuss about the weekend's action, then obviously tomorrow's game against Leicester, because who knows who's going to play at this point. But thank you for having me on, Ankit, as always.
No, definitely our pleasure. And of course, people in the chat, if you've not checked out Michael Talks Football, I really don't know what you're doing. Like always, the link is below. Do check it out. And, we've featured, Michael Talks Football, like Leicester Till I Die TV, because Brad is very, I think almost Brad, every week you go a couple of times at least, if you're not wrong, on Leicester Till I Die TV. And that's something that, I met Brad on. So, yeah.
Yeah,
So hopefully,
yeah,
we
it's
will...
a busy channel.
Absolutely. So, Brad,
I don't know,
like
the two you'll catch me out most of them.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if it's me lagging or Brad, but
I might be a bit behind.
Yeah, I think it's definitely our internet. But anyway, quickly, people, I hope you guys are able to hear me fine. As in this game, Liverpool-Leicester, it has a lot of reasons to talk about, because firstly, I think, it's something about the draws, about FA Cup draws or Carabao Cup draws. Something happens, the team which kind of is going to be meeting in the league, they suddenly meet in the cup as well, something around the same time. And I think Liverpool are traveling to Leicester on the 28th, just a week from now. And obviously this game, Leicester traveling to Liverpool. So maybe first I'll come to Michael, because I think as a Liverpool fan, Michael, I know Brendan Rodgers, he kind of has a split opinion in terms of how fans think about him overall, right? But again, he did something good at Liverpool as well, right? How do Liverpool fans see Brendan Rodgers, and do you see Brendan Rodgers actually getting the kind of ovation, maybe like a Stevie G, or at what level do you see him?
I mean, to be honest, I don't really care for Brendan Rodgers. He kind of, in a way, he did fail at Liverpool because he got the second place thanks to the Slippy G, unfortunately for him. But just many times, just his football, once there wasn't Suarez magic, it was just dead football, to be honest. It was just no urgency in the play. We got Balotelli. That didn't really work out too much with Balotelli. So I don't think Liverpool fans, they obviously, respect Brendan Rodgers for what he did, getting a side that really should have not finished second in the league, to be honest. That side was not good enough, and we got to a second place. After that, then it went all downhill, and then obviously he got sacked, and then in came Jurgen Klopp. But to be honest, I don't really rate Brendan Rodgers. I know he's done fantastic things at Leicester City, but every time he gets into a good position, and then in the last half of the season, he always fails. Always fails, it seems like to me. Maybe the last two seasons, Leicester could have easily gotten Champions League spot. But, they lose stupid games. I think Brad can let me know. Didn't Leicester lose to Newcastle last season in the last couple of games, if I'm not mistaken? Is that correct?
Have we lost him?
I think he might be really behind us. But yeah, my point is that I do respect Brendan Rodgers. He does get an okay ovation when he does go to Anfield. But yeah, I don't know. It's just he's an okay manager to me. I wonder if Brad can hear us.
I can. I'm down south visiting family, and they've only just discovered Wi-Fi down here, so it's a bit temperamental. Sometimes I'm hearing you great, sometimes I'm picking it up in between. So I do apologise if you ask a question and I ask for it to be repeated. But no, in regards to Brendan Rodgers, I can see from a Liverpool's fan perspective as to why maybe he's not held in a higher regard as maybe he is by Leicester fans. I think, in the greatest respect to my own club, I've always said that sometimes managers find their place in football, and I think Rodgers is a manager that can handle the responsibility of a top 8 club. And I think Leicester are just on that threshold where they're in between 8th and 4th is their primary goals, and has been for a few seasons now. You have to also remember he got the job in his mid-30s managing Liverpool. He's not an old manager, like managers that have been very successful at that level. He's not one of the oldest managers in the league now, and he was definitely one of the younger managers at Liverpool. I'm inclined to agree that I think he did overachieve. I actually think he overachieved at Liverpool. The fact that he was even in with a shout of the title that season should not have happened. We saw the development and the progress it took Klopp himself to get Liverpool to where they are and what they've been doing. Just shows that maybe you could compare it to Leicester and the fact that there's probably now Leicester fans looking at this season and going, well, maybe he did really get us overachieving. I don't like the term to say their team's overachieved. They achieved what they're supposed to achieve, in my opinion. But if you look at it on the longevity, Leicester are probably having a season where they're probably looking at that top 7 and on course for it. They're on course for it, despite a bumpy start. We're not too far off the mark of where we'd want to be. And I think maybe Rodgers found his calling at Leicester is that's where he needs to be, like a Leicester, West Ham, Everton are the sort of clubs. Because there is managers out there, everybody has them, and I don't care what people say. Every manager or footballer, except for a very unique few, has their limits. And I do feel that maybe third time technically around in the Premiership, Rodgers has found that level with us. So I'm a lot happier with Rodgers than you probably are as a manager. Probably rate him in a higher ranking. I would say he's a very good manager.
Interesting. Again, like, people in the chat do comment, like, as in, where do you actually rate Brendan Rodgers? Like, is he basically someone who's basically going to go right to the very top, or you see him basically like a David Moyes, kind of ending up like a mid-table club? Like, again, there's a lot of debate there. But I'm sticking on to you, Brad, because I know, like, you just said it there, right? In terms of basically where you found your space in terms of Rodgers and Leicester. But as in, let's be honest, this cup and maybe the FA Cup are, I told the FA Cup because yes, Leicester are the FA Cup holders. I have to say that. But yes, definitely, as in, this is your best chance for any silverware this season, or maybe the Conference League. Like, considering the cup competitions, how important they are, despite it being a bubble and basically, as in Leicester traveling to Liverpool, Brad, do you actually see Leicester actually fielding a strong team?
No, I can't, which actually in a weird way is what gives me hope that we can beat Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. I think in a way it's kind of a blessing that the drawn out fixtures, I mean, I air quote the drawn out fixtures because I believe this is the third season in a row we're going to play Liverpool and Manchester City in the space of at the Christmas period. We always play Liverpool and Man City so close together. I think there's a lot of factors that come into it. Obviously, everything that's going on in the football world. Liverpool are just back off playing Liverpool. But I think the way Klopp has clearly shown his disregard in the nicest way possible. I've voiced my opinions on Klopp and his attitude towards this cup before. I don't see them putting out a strong side. And we've obviously had 2 postponements where we were probably looking at our next 2 games at that point going, we'd like to take, 4 points to add to the 3 points we just got against Newcastle. So there was less pressure on getting something from Man City and Liverpool. And I think this gives us an opportunity to allow the first team to still train and get that, keep their fitness up, but be fresh and ready for Liverpool. And as much as I'm always an advocate, like you said, for always wanting to win silverware, look, I've always said, I don't care who you support, I don't care how many trophies you win per season, always cherish winning things and wanting to win things, because you will have a period in your lifetime where your club is just not doing anything. It's not winning anything. I mean, how many teams like a Villa, a Forest, a Derby, even an Everton are now wishing
Liverpool.
that their team had snatched them opportunities when they were winning things and appreciated it more. But yeah, I think we'll see a very rotated Leicester squad, a heavily rotated squad for the game. I can't see them being many first team players out there. Maybe Vestergaard and Bertrand but I can't see any mainstay 11 being picked for tomorrow night's game.
Interesting. What about you, Michael? As in, I know that you beat Milan with the B team, so might as well rotate.
Might as well rotate, exactly. I think we'll play like the likes of Konate, Joe Gomez, maybe Milner. Those sort of players will start. And then Shimikas, of course, because Robertson got that red card on the weekend, and then I would probably say Nico Williams. So there might be a mix of like experienced players like Firmino, who's coming back from injury. He needs to get some match fitness because on Sunday he was terrible, and you could just tell he was really off of it from the game. So I think there will be, you know, a mix of youngsters and experienced players. And I agree with Brad that Klopp doesn't care about this club. He doesn't, and he's, I think, expressed that in the past before, where he just doesn't care, to be honest. And for me, I don't really care about the League Cup. I'd rather him prioritize FA Cup, Champions League, and Premier League. That's just my own opinion. But if you're in a competition, like Brad says, you got to win it. Even for Leicester, you know, they were supposed to get out of the group in the Europa League with Spartak Moscow, Legia Warsaw, and Napoli, and they finished third behind Spartak Moscow. I mean, that's not good enough. Now they got to focus on winning the Conference League, which is a competition that they can actually win, and they should prioritize it. Unlike Tottenham Hotspur, who decided, oh, we're going to disregard it and not care about the tournament. You should. Conference League is going to become, well, obviously it's not going to become a Champions League, Europa League, but it's still going to be a major silverware in Europe. So if you're in any competition, you got to try and win it. And hopefully just Klopp, he's only made it to one final in a cup competition. And that was his first season, I believe, where we lost to ManCity in the League Cup final, where Willy Caballero decided to become superhuman and decided to save all the penalties. But I just hope we field a somewhat strong side and we can actually compete for the Carabao Cup, because I think it's winnable. Now that there's no Man City, we should every team has a chance to win this competition this year.
Absolutely, you know, thanks to West Ham, you know, and we'll get to the West Ham game as well, because, you know, that's something interesting for me. But as in just checking around, you know, Liverpool versus Leicester, right? As in terms of the head-to-heads, like Leicester, I know probably the Foxes beating Liverpool, what, 3-1, if I remember right, in February. And
Don't remind me of that game.
But you know what? As in, you say that, Michael, but I think Liverpool have had a number over Leicester. I think before that, I think 7 games, 6 games have been on the side of the Reds, right? So I think Liverpool have beaten Leicester 6 times in the last 8 games, and 1 has been a draw. So I think you can safely say that Liverpool are definitely having a better hand. And then in terms of the run into the quarterfinals, also, like, you know, I know Leicester beat Brighton on penalties and Millwall, but Liverpool, I think, again, like Michael said, like, you know, with a B side almost, they kind of beat Preston North End and Norwich. So you can say it's similar, but I can actually see Liverpool, you know, definitely fielding a second side. And that is why I felt that maybe for Leicester, it is but obvious to go with a strong side, because this is their best chance. And I don't know, quickly, Brad, I would ask you, like, in that game 3-1, I know Michael said, don't remind me, but we have to speak for Brad's sake. As in, you saw something that you remembered could possibly be reused in this game. What is the tactic that, you know, Rodgers will go with?
You've just got to approach Liverpool in the same vein. I mean, you over the last 3 or 4 seasons, you've come to liken them to Man City, and we've seen fierce title races between them. You know, you've had 90 plus points get beat by 100 points. You've seen Liverpool run away with it, and Man City burn out, and Man City have run away with it, and Liverpool burn out. But 2 very similar clubs that when you find that they lose, it's a very, very hard game that the team's played, and you know, you kind of have to find that very, very fine balance between trying to match Liverpool's intensity and not getting torn apart at the back. And we've got too many defensive frailties. I mean, we literally, again, I think we were very lucky that we were playing Turdcastle United, because the reason I say that is because polish a turd, it's still a turd. Doesn't matter how much money Newcastle have got, their squad is still Championship basic. But we didn't actually have a back 4. We had Ndidi playing centre back. You know, we didn't have an Amati, we didn't have a Vestergaard, we didn't have Johnny Evans. We was in tatters at the back. In fact, the game was, I think Evans started that game, sorry, and Samora had to come on. So we're decimated at the back. So that, in a way, in a blessing in disguise, the defensive games come for us. I remember our home performance against Man City, where we kind of went a 5-4-1, where we basically just put the blockade up, tried to ping the ball out as quick as we could, but we're very cautious about making sure that we didn't get hit by a very hefty counter, top-heavy Man City attack. It's that if we could do that, we can cause a few issues, may nick a 1-0, but I don't think you can really draw too much inspiration from that 3-1 win, because Liverpool's capitulation from being 1-0 up there. You could have put that on Comedy Central for its own TV series. You had a goalkeeper tackling a defender. You had all sorts going on. It was honestly, I know you don't appreciate it, mate, but it was a very smug 20 minutes to watch for Leicester, and it came at a time when we were not on the greatest of form. I think you'd have been hard pressed to have found any proper fan who wasn't just putting on the blue tinted glasses that were genuinely backing Leicester to get anything from that. But this is a very even playing field because, like Mike said, I think both teams have their focus elsewhere. I think the disappointment of not getting out the Europa League group has intensified for our Europa League conference next season. We're obviously FA Cup champions. Don't know if you remember that, Ankit, but we hold that lovely trophy.
I reminded myself already. Come on. Let's not have it twice.
But yeah, so obviously I can't remember the last time anybody went back-to-back defending the FA Cup. So we just want to put up a good defence. You know, if we get Chelsea or something like that again in the early rounds, we get knocked out, fine. But we'd like to defend that with a bit of pride. And I just think this is one game that history, records. I know you pointed out that Liverpool have won 6 out of the last 8 against us. I think because of the situation of the cup itself and how it's looked upon by the general public and teams alike, that everything just goes out the window. You're going to see a mixture of experience, you know, because we use our youth and Liverpool have been using their youth quite well as of late. So I think you will see a dash of experience in there, but it's going to be so hard to pick because it's not Firmino, Salah, Mane, Henderson against Tielemans, Maddison, Vardy. You know, you're probably going to see Iheanacho play, maybe a Daka, but aside from that, it's going to be such a hard game to really talk about because we're probably going to see 70% of our starting lineups have barely kicked a ball in the high end of it. They may have played a few Carabao Cup games beforehand against a lot lesser opposition. So it's going to be interesting to see. All I hope is it's not a boring 0-0 because for all the fans that do make it, the last thing you want to see is a very nervy game between two clubs that we know can put on a show when they meet because there's always goals when these clubs play each other. So I hope I've not just cursed a 0-0, to be honest with you.
Okay, that's interesting. So basically, Brad, you just made your prediction there in a sense. But yeah, I can definitely see that because I think Leicester's form has been really up and down, right? As in it's been like what they've lost 2 games, won 2 games, and 1 draw. And Liverpool, Michael, like I can not even kind of mention that, but the fact is the fact that Liverpool have been on a great run. Yes, the last game against Spurs, and we will be touching upon that briefly in the next section because honestly, for me, Spurs should have won that game, taken their chances, but they missed their chances, and that's football, right? And again, the refs came into picture, and then Liverpool would say, we deserve to win that game because of the ref, what they did. And then a lot of talk there, but again, Liverpool, I think, with the run they've had, I think we can all say that Liverpool are firm favourites. There's no 2 ways about it. But Michael, what's your scoreline prediction?
2-2, and we win on penalties. That's what I'm going with for Liverpool against Leicester. 2-2 and we win on penalties. Wow. Because I don't think there's no extra time, right? It goes straight to penalties, correct? Yeah. In the Carabao Cup.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'll go with the 2-2 and we win on penalties. I think we'll leak some goals because what you could see on the weekend, our midfield without Fabinho, Thiago, and Henderson is just all over the place. There's no continuity when it comes to the midfield and the defense. And I think we will leak goals again because, we have some inexperienced players at the back still, maybe whoever plays in the back 4, but I think we'll, of course, score goals. I mean, come on. Liverpool are the best attacking side in the world at this moment. Even if we play Firmino and Taki and all these guys, we're still going to score goals. Even, if Leicester set up in a 5 in the back formation, we'll still score goals. But I will go with a 2-2 and we win on penalties.
So we are basically going on penalties for both the games. Like we've previewed 2 games now, and I think the entire panel has gone for only penalties. It's really interesting. And yeah, as a Sports Wire, again, a great channel, upcoming channel for that, as in I've been there. and I love that. Has Liverpool Academy stepped up this season? If so, isn't it a game to check their strengths? So, anyone in particular, Michael, that you know of Liverpool Academy that really deserves that shout out?
Morton's been fantastic when he's played, except against Tottenham. I think he was in a tough position against Tottenham where he had to. That was his first Premier League start. It was a tough game. I think he wasn't really prepared to start in that game, unlike when he played against AC Milan, Norwich, and Preston North End. But I've been really impressed with Morton and Gordon, of course, one of our young wingers. And I think hopefully he gets to play tomorrow. He's a very exciting talent, but nobody really else has stepped up other than those two guys. Maybe we'll see other academy players tomorrow, but I kind of doubt it. I think he rather gets Bobby Firmino his match fitness going. So I think those are the two players that have really stepped up for us.
Interesting. And Brad, anyone from Leicester among the academy people that you expect to come up?
Unfortunately, no, because a lot of promising academy have either stepped up this year, notably Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, and I mean Vontae Campbell, who we signed from Arsenal last year. That's probably one that I'd expect to see play tomorrow. But a lot of other promising ones have found clubs at lower leagues and are already out on loan. There's a young lad whose name I can't pronounce, and I'm not going to try and remember how to pronounce it and butcher it. But it begins with a T, and again, it's a complex name to say. Well, it is to me because I can't figure out how to pronounce it. He has been in the squad a few times on European nights. Ben Nielsen maybe gets some game time here, but a lot of them are progressing away from the club, getting match time under their belt. But yeah. Probably 2 or 3 names that might strike an appearance from it. I mean, we've got a great youth academy. I'm actually goes under our radar, the acknowledgement of our youth development and how we bring them in. Obviously, not all homegrown, exactly like I just said there, Vontae Campbell, it was from Arsenal. But again, we're bringing in the youth to train the youth to become first-team players, and we've got quite a good successful rate. George Thomas is still, I think he might have just turned 20, but he's been in the team now for a good couple of seasons. Dewsbury-Hall's made that step up now. Barnes did so 3 or 4 seasons ago. So there might be a few surprises. But we might see a few names that have been down in the under-23s or back off a loan. But off the top of my head, that I know are in the under-23s, Ben Nielsen and the guy whose name I can't pronounce. I believe he's in relation to the owners. So I think that tells you why I can't pronounce his name, because he's got a very long-winded name. But you may see someone like that in the side tomorrow. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see what side we put out. And I love your faith in us having a back 5, mate, because I don't think we've got 5 fit defenders at the moment. So I guarantee we'll put another back 5 against you.
Fair enough. You know what, I mean, Michael, I don't know if you watched the first part of the stream. We spoke about Klopp briefly. I would, again, not just as a Chelsea fan and someone who's kind of, rivals to Liverpool, in recent years, of course. But Klopp losing, I would love to see Klopp losing, because him going on record saying that Chelsea, feeling the strong side, all that. But anyway, I mean, those are things that we can go on and on forever. But that's just wishful thinking and me talking a Chelsea fan. But, here, obviously, we have a question here from Sportswell. Is Tielemans match ready? Brad, would you like to take that quickly?
Yeah, I think he's always match ready. I think what Brendan has learned over the last 2 years, especially with the injuries we got from Maddison and Barnes, that were probably extended by our need to rush them back through our squad depth. We've had better transfer window this summer in terms of the likes of Samore and that coming in, and we've been a bit more careful and cautious bringing players back. So I think he's match ready. I don't see him playing, however, Tuesday. The only way I could see someone like Tielemans getting some minutes is if the result's beyond doubt and he gets 15 to 10 minutes just to get his, get some minutes under his belt in preparation for the league game. I'd be surprised though if we see a Tielemans or a Maddison playing tomorrow. I just don't see it.
As in, I get that totally. Yes, again, we've been discussing this game forever, but again, there are some huge talking points from the weekend. Michael, yeah, you have a quick point?
Yeah, the Chelsea perspective. Big up to you. He says Michael says Liverpool is the best attacking side in Europe, and he's not. I just want to know what side is better in the attacking phase than Liverpool this season. I just want to know.
Yeah, fair enough.
I can say if I would say we're the best defensive side, then I'm being super biased because I know we're not the best defensive side. But I want to know what's the best attacking side in Europe this season. I just want to know. Other than maybe Bayern Munich, but I mean they're playing Hoffenheim and Hertha Berlin and these guys in the Bundesliga, like Liverpool doing on a consistent basis in the best league in the world and in the Champions League.
I actually agree with you. As much as it pains me to say it, but yeah, I agree with that. And again, it's just pure banter. Trust me on that. But having said that, again, there is Spurs. Spurs West Ham United. I know. Firstly, the game in itself is very interesting for me, considering West Ham knocked out ManCity. I know it was a cup and all that, but Spurs coming off that, great match. As a neutral, I love that match. Like, after a long time, we've actually noticed, that both the teams are just wanting to go on attack, and of course, a lot of mistakes. But we've got to speak about something, right? As in, this is something hilarious, like, because I'll actually share my screen because this is something that I could not even believe what's happened. I think Michael's sticking to you. This tackle,
I know.
I know in slow motion, it kind of tells us basically, what he really intended. Trust me, in slow motion, it really does intend. But like the first time I actually, saw Kane do that, and then moreover, referee actually, doing what he did, as in not doing what he was supposed to do. As in, really, this is how I felt.
You serious?
I still can't believe it. Like, you know what? Most over, I don't know if you guys actually saw the post-match as an interview. This is hilarious. The memes are like really funny, which have come out in the last 24 hours. But this is basically, Kane's expression on basically asked that, okay, was it a red card? This is how he actually reacted. Like, really? Like,
well, of course,
Kane
he's not gonna
like,
say it's a red card.
Oh, when he actually said that, okay, I did not even watch the replay, but I think I may have got the ball, is what he mentioned. Like, it was nowhere close. I don't know. Like, but again, like, we can talk about a lot of other decisions in that game. But Michael, because of the fact that it happened with your team, like, do you not think at some point, I know that he was probably yellow carded, but it's time that the FA decide that even the yellow cards are supposed to be relooked at, and you got to basically, do something about it, because such obvious things which can affect basically the Premier League, right? Because next matches, can also be affected because of this. So is there a debate saying that, hey, let's actually relook at the yellow cards as well and maybe, suspend some players? What do you think?
I just think they need to fix up VAR. I'm not even going to blame Paul Tierney, the referee, because, Jurgen Klopp absolutely ripped him apart in this post-match interview. I'm not even going to rip him apart. I'm just going to rip apart VAR, because clearly, if Robertson has his leg planted on that tackle right there, his leg is broken. His tibia is broken. I've broken my tibia. It sucks. You're out for 6-7 months with a broken tibia. And, the referee can't see it in live action. Oh, is that a horrible tackle? But VAR needs to advise him, go look at the screen. He cannot go himself and say, you know what, guys, I'm actually going to go recheck that tackle. VAR has to give him that advice. I'm not even going to blame Paul Tierney. That is all VAR's fault. And clearly, the people who are running VAR have no clue what they're doing. They're not football people. They might be at the pub having a couple pints, have their feet up, just don't know what they're doing. They'll have no clue about football. They're just chilling at the pub, looking at the screen. It looked like a good tackle. He's English captain. I'm not even going to use that, to be honest. I've used that enough this weekend, like saying he's English captain. I'm just going to say it. It's just VAR's fault. It's not the referee's fault. I was just okay, I understand the Robertson tackle was quite dangerous. But, like, seriously, they go straight away. Hey, you go look at VAR. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Are we not going to look? And also, the Liverpool second goal, Salah should have been a handball on Salah. It should not have been a goal. It should have been disallowed because Salah, he controlled it with his hand and the play continued. And eventually Liverpool got the goal from that. So there's just so many referee mistakes in that game. But I'm not even going to blame Paul Tierney. It's all VAR. and it needs to fix up. The best league in the world has the worst VAR in the world by far. Maybe does the Indian Premier League use VAR? They probably have better VAR system than the Premier League at this moment.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, like, it's not new. As in, we have seen that technology has been used in sport, like multiple sports for decades together now. It's not like something that we got it yesterday. So it's very strange that they behave like 20th century people who kind of, there's a communication device. And I think Dermot Gallagher went on record, I think on Premier League, as an official channel, saying that VAR is not there to correct the referee. VAR is only there to basically, just tell them that it's but obvious that you made a howler. Come on. And then the point of a referee is to make decisions, and whether it's right or wrong is the bottom line, right? And then you call it like Salah's. Like for me, Brad, I'll come to you. Brad knows a lot of football. He has seen a lot of football. I basically believe that my 20 years of football watching has finally gone to as in the garbage, because today I don't know what is the rule for handball. Brad, please let me understand what is handball, as in when do you actually get a penalty, when do you not get a penalty? I'm really confused.
It baffles me, and I'm almost tired of making the points that I've always made when this topic of subject comes up, and you guys have summed it up perfectly. It isn't like football was the first sport and the only sport to ever use some form of technology to change decisions. It's actually almost sad and embarrassing that they're using it so wrong, right? And the biggest thing they're doing is they're still allowing referees to have an opinion. And people might say, well, right, referees are allowed to have an opinion. Yes, they are. But what they're not allowed to then do is look at these completely separate incidents and decide, the one thing you've got to do, and you look at any other sport, right? If a player challenges a call in tennis and it's barely hitting the line, but because that video replay is showing it's just skimming the line, it's in. You don't see the umpire in the chair going, well, in my opinion, that's technically out, and he goes with the decision. No, they go, well, that's out, or that's in. That's the rule, them the rules, as they say. Football is so opinionated, and it pisses me off. I don't understand. It's not that difficult, right? It doesn't need to, because you can't have an incident like Robinson's red card reviewed, checked, and sent off. Right now, arguments aside, whether the red or yellow card doesn't matter. The one thing that needs to be consistent is if you're checking that, you're checking the other. And I think it's a major cop-out to try and keep the excitement in football, to say, well, yeah, Salah did handball it, but that was 2.5 minutes ago, so it's not in the phase of play of the goal. Well, had you blown up the goddamn whistle and gave the free kick like you should have for handball, none of the following 2.5 minutes of football happens at all. So don't tell me that Salah's handball happening 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 2 minutes for a goal hasn't affected the game, because it bloody well has. You just need a bit of consistency where you look at an incident and you review an incident, and maybe they do it on the panel and they go, right, from now on, I don't care if you think it is or not. If this happens, whether it's at Chelsea, Leicester, whether it's at Leeds, Millwall in the Cup, I don't care if VAR is involved. If we're giving a red card for it in this game, you are giving it a red card for that game. Because the one thing I pointed out, and I'm going to use a common name of refs that people always think like to steal the show and one up other referees, and that's John Moss, right? Because I feel that sometimes whoever's in charge of VAR sees an incident and goes, I get a chance to show up my mate, I get to show him he's made a right thing. And you can't do that. Football's not a matter of opinion when it comes to these vital calls. It's a matter of what's right and wrong. If them two incidents happen in the game tomorrow, let's say Hamza Chowdhury, because it's a classic one, comes in and does the same tackle that Kane does, and then he gets looked at and he gets sent off, and one of Liverpool's youngsters like Nat Phillips or whatever retaliates and does the same, then guess what? His incident gets looked at and he gets the same punishment. It's not that difficult. It's embarrassing how bad they run this. It's so simple. We've got about 7 sports that use it, and we're aliens to it. We're like, what's this? No, I don't know what you're talking about. Other sports? No, we're the first. No, you bunch of Muppets. I mean, the only Muppets I want to see at Christmas is the Christmas Carol that I'll be watching, not Muppets running technology at football. It's just, I can't believe we can sit here and figure it out, and they still refuse to make it plain throughout.
It's literally every week. Like honestly, like like you said, Brad, like it's every stream we have at least one subtopic, on the refs and the decisions, and that's from years together. It's not like yesterday. Like even when VR didn't exist, what was the point of VR? But anyway, and then we can go on and on about that. But I think talking about Spurs, Michael, like I know Michael, you cover a lot of Conference League and other leagues as well. Like Spurs, I know that the situation is not normal for them to feel a strong 11 as in the Conference League game. But and then where are you on this? Because I think for sure Spurs could have basically sent a bunch of youngsters at worst, right? As in who are possibly in a different bubble. In worst case, why do you have to forfeit that? Like, do you actually get that?
I don't understand it. I really don't. It's Spurs. I just don't think they want to win the Conference League. They're allergic to trophies.
They don't won anything, Michael. That's the whole
They're
point.
allergic.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. I mean, like, to be honest, Spurs should have won that game against Liverpool 100%. And this is coming from a Liverpool fan. I'm not going to include the red card, what it should have been, and all that sort of stuff. Spurs should have won that game 4-2. Had Harry Kane been an actual striker that he is, because you remember the second half where he had that header from a yard out and he missed it completely. I couldn't believe it. And then, Dele Alli had a good chance, but Alisson made a great save. Who else had a good chance? Oh, Harry Kane tried to sweaty it and it didn't work out. Spurs should have won that game 4-2, and we should have not even had a discussion about should have been a red card and all that sort of stuff, where we would have praised Conte for doing an amazing job with Spurs. When it comes to the Conference League, I mean, I cover the Conference League, of course, and I could not believe, because I was at another game at the same time while they were playing against Mura, they beat them 2-1. I honestly could not believe it. Yeah. And then now they have to forfeit, of course, the Stade Rennes match, which is, it's a shame, but I just think that they just don't have any match day to play. I just think that, because, in England, all the games are just so on top of each other in December and January, and it had to be played before December 31st, if I'm not mistaken. So they had no other choice to forfeit it, because when could they have played? They would have to play maybe with 2 match days to go. I mean, in between 2 games. And then obviously you have to come into also equation of Stade Rennes matches in Ligue 1 and in Coupe de France. So there's a lot of scenarios when it comes to this Spurs thing. But when it comes to this match between Spurs and West Ham, I think this is a good opportunity for Spurs to win a trophy. I think it is, especially with Conte. Obviously he's going to try and focus on getting the top 4, but they have a good opportunity to win this tournament. And it's going to be a tough match against West Ham. We'll see if he plays the likes of Kane, Son, and these sort of guys. Will he feel more of a weakened side against West Ham? We'll see what side West Ham come with. Did they get hit by COVID, or was it only who is
I think West Ham is fine. West Ham's fine. One of the few clubs which have not really been affected at all. But again, that's a great call, because for me, again, like Leicester, Spurs for me, as in it was a Conference League, or basically the League Cup is what they could have gone for, and Conference League is obviously gone. Leicester at least have that, but Spurs, I think, yeah, you're right. As in maybe Conte, and he's not great at cup competition, so it is even more weird, why he didn't go for that Conference League, because that was a great chance. But yeah, I think probably this is the time where he'll probably feel a strong 11. After seeing that performance, yes, they missed a few chances, but definitely performance overall was much better. So I think that's Conte, getting his troop together. I don't know, Brad. For you, West Ham, I don't know, they've fallen off the cliff, right, Brad? They were great. I know they decided to turn up against us, beat us, and then they kind of fell off. I think they've just lost that momentum after that David Moyes' 600 game, or maybe it's them performing well in Europe. But Brad, where do you see West Ham actually landing up end of the season, and do you see them kind of challenging for Europe come next season?
I think they may be, after such a blistering start. I've always said that, and a few West Ham fans that I speak to have said that West Ham have this habit of doing really well against the Spurs and Arsenal, Chelsea, and Leicester, and clubs like that, but they slip up against the Burnley. They slip up against the struggling Southampton. They don't do too well. And I think maybe Moyes might just have, without admitting it, hit the panic button on their little bit of dip and go, okay, maybe now we've had our big victory against Man United and that, but let's not completely combust in the league. Let's focus on that. And I think you know, with Spurs' allergies to cups, this could be a game that West Ham win with not the greatest intent to win it because their focus is predominantly on the league. It's funny that what Michael just said there about Spurs being allergic to winning silverware. I mean, only they could have a cup competition built for them and still fail to get out of it by their own means. But could they not just do what Liverpool did? Because they not do what Liverpool did that year? You know, when Klopp threw his toys out the plan, even though he knew they'd have to play that game in December. But could he not just send a squad to the Renes and leave the squad at home for the league game? If it's that unimportant to them to not play European football, then I'm not that bothered. Why not do what teams have done before in this competition? West Ham played their kids and got knocked out by Vauxhall Motors one year, didn't they? To back some team that sounds like it's called after a car company. Why not do that then? If it's such a big deal for them, because now all of a sudden Conte's come out and said they're going to appeal it. Well, it weren't a big deal, Jim. Now it's a big deal because suddenly, what did he then suddenly realise the last thing that Tottenham won was the Audi Cup? Because why not take the under-23s and a few first-team names to deal with Rene and play the game out before the 31st? You can have your Harry Kanes and your Dele Allis and your fully fit 11 play on the 28th or 29th or whenever. Why not send them out to Europe? You could send the under-23s manager to go and manage it. I don't see why they felt the need to not be able to rearrange it to fit Rene's schedule and play it for the cut-off point for when they need to play it. But hey-ho, they're not my club, so I really don't give a monkeys. But if I'm trying to be neutral, that's where it is. But I think West Ham will actually win this without meaning to, because I just think Spurs are serial bottlers.
Oh yeah, great, interesting. As in again, won't be surprised because absolutely, I agree, because West Ham have just knocked out ManCity in the last round, and then this is motivation for them. And again, maybe a Spurs, maybe a Leicester, they possibly are really desperate for something big in their kind of recent history. They've not got that, so that's something that I think maybe unlike them they will possibly value it more, and I can see that happening. Michael, what do you reckon will happen?
Pens again?
Oh, no, come on.
Oh man, this is a tough one to call.
Stay awake till 4 a.m. Again, people watching. I know a lot of people are from my part of the world, as in we know how bad it is. Penalties, as in it goes so late in the night. I'm hoping that it's no penalties, but I get your point as well.
Yeah, you honestly, like you said there, actually, you got to big up all the Australian, Indian, West Coast American fans. They all have to wake up early or stay up late to watch their teams. While here in Europe, we got it easy. 10 o'clock at night here for me in Finland. Brad's got it 8 o'clock. We got nice and easy lives here when watching football in Europe. But for this game, Antonio hasn't scored since that screamer of a goal he scored against the USA for Jamaica. He hasn't scored since then, Antonio. I don't know what's going to happen. Better only penalties directly.
Good one.
That's a good one. But West Ham are kind of struggling, But Brad makes a good point that they play up to their competition and then they'll play down to their competition, like getting a 0-0 draw away to Burnley. So 2-1 West Ham. I'm not too confident about it, but I'll go 2-1 West Ham.
Okay, interesting. But yeah, it's interesting that all three of us are kind of on West Ham side, despite Spurs' performance. So yeah, it's a good game. I'm looking forward to watching this game, obviously in parallel with the Chelsea game. But as in we've covered that. For people missing the stream, please go watch that, because yes, we did cover a lot of aspects about the FA there, and we require some feedback there, definitely. But yes, again, do share the stream and check out the description, because we have Leicester till ITV, Michael Talks Football. I forgot actually, Michael Talks Football. Michael, big congratulations. 1K subscribers. Of course, it's road to 2K, so hopefully you get there very soon, mate. But quickly, we'll cover the last game as well. That's obviously tonight. And again, Arsenal, as in they probably will do an Arsenal. Honestly speaking, they as in the run that they've had, they'll certainly not turn up against Sunderland. I can see that happening. Actually, this one, I actually see a 0-0, draw with going to penalties, knowing Sunderland, as in again, just historical Sunderland, what they are, right? But as in a quick prediction, I'll take from you, Michael, first.
3-0 Arsenal. Maybe Aubameyang will play.
Interesting. We'll come to that. Brad, what's your prediction?
You know what? Just because I love the banter so much, I'm gonna go with what I hope the scoreline is more than what I think it's going to be. Honestly, I think it's going to be 5-0 Arsenal. It's going to be something daft like that. But I, for the predictions, just to give the hype behind it, 3-0 Sunderland.
Wow. I really hope. But you know what? Arsenal and cup competitions, I somehow feel like, unlike what Tottenham don't kind of respect Arsenal, as in, we have to kind of give them the kudos because they somehow respect all the cup competitions. And that's something in them. Like, again, as a Chelsea fan, doesn't really,
Sorry, I was just going to say quickly, you think two teams that are scared of silverware and bottle it all the time would actually appreciate trying to win something like the Carabao Cup, but apparently not.
No, but that's the whole point, right? As in, because I think Michael put the nail on the head. Because of the fact that Spurs haven't kind of won that, they find excuses to basically get out. As in, they know that they anyway will bottle it, and that's the subconscious mind. It's not like on purpose, obviously. And again, Leicester, they've changed, but I must say Leicester obviously winning the FA Cup against Chelsea third time. I don't know why I'm repeating it, but again, I know that's something that has changed things. And I can see Brendan Rodgers actually, as in, unlike what you said, I can actually see a pretty strong side playing, as in it'll be interesting. But again, Insane Football Talks, a very good upcoming channel. As in, please do check it out. Yes, no problem. You can always rewatch the stream. Quick last point we'll have about Aubameyang. I think Michael quickly, as I mentioned about Aubameyang. But Michael, as in, I can see this being a send-off game. Don't you think so? January is gone.
He's gone. I mean, the only thing for Aubameyang is who is going to pay his contract. He is under 300,000
Newcastle, apparently.
Oh, pick me. I know it. The same guys that pay Eriksen's wages at that high, and the same team that paid for Sanchez, Inter Milan.
Wow.
I don't see Inter. I don't think Inter will buy him. They already have Lautaro Martinez, Edin Dzeko, Correa.
No, they like to be charitable.
they do like to be charitable. Aubameyang, he's cost himself. It's all his own fault. You're not acting like a captain. You don't respect the rules. You don't really respect your teammates if you're doing these sort of things. This is the thing, though. And if you guys follow ESPN FC, there's always a talking point where if you give a 30-year-old who's over 30 years old a new contract and you give him much more money, is there the same motivation anymore? And we've seen this constantly with Arsenal. Mesut Ozil, he gets a new deal. What happens? Turns terrible. Aubameyang gets a new contract. Turns terrible. It's just Arsenal, they need to stop giving these 30-year-olds max contracts, basically, is a term we use in America, basically. But Aubameyang, he's leaving in January. If he doesn't leave in January, he will not play. Maybe he'll play 3 or 4 games, maybe cup games, and then he's gone in the summer. That's just for me with Aubameyang. I would love to see Aubameyang go to AC Milan because I think they need a striker desperately who actually has pace, unlike Giroud and Zlatan. But Aubameyang's done at Arsenal. You can just tell. And now in the last couple of games, you see Arsenal are actually playing really good football. Okay, obviously against Leeds, it was a very, very depleted Leeds side, and they were terrible on the day. But you can just tell Arsenal and Arteta as well. I still don't really think Arteta is the man, but I think this is a good decision from him to strip Aubameyang of the captaincy, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it was coming, definitely. Like you said, about 30 plus years. And maybe that is one of the reasons why Chelsea have such a strict policy. And I know that William kind of has gone on record talking about Arsenal, and we'll be covering that in tomorrow's stream. Yes, people watching, do tune in tomorrow as well. Same time, we are having another big panel, and definitely going to be having a lot of fun because that's going to be like a year in review. So we'll be talking about a lot of tops and flops. So that'll be really interesting and a lot of interactions. Hopefully, we'll get a lot of kind of comments there about whom do you want in, out. But yes, as in we can go on and on about Aubameyang and Arsenal. But again, thanks for everyone watching. Of course, I would like to give the panel a chance to kind of speak about themselves and of course what they think about the Carabao Cup and the FA in general. Brad, firstly, the platform is yours. Please go ahead, mate. Thanks for coming on.
No worries, mate. I've really enjoyed it. It's good to be on the channel, mate. It's been good sat there in the audience more times than not watching your channel, so it's nice to be on the panel. Just a last touching point for you on Aubameyang. If he stays in the summer, do you see them cashing in on Haaland and bringing him back? Because that's where they got him from, didn't they? Dortmund. Could you potentially see that? You don't think there'll be
I
any
think there'll
changes?
be Man United. Apparently, Rangnick, kind of has a lot of kind of, as in there's a connection between Rangnick and Haaland. So that is the talk that has been going on in the last couple of days. But I think with Haaland, you can never kind of guess. With Mino Raiola being there, I don't know, Michael, what's your take there?
I mean, United going for another striker, really? Do they forget about the
They need to
midfield?
change something.
Yeah, but their midfield is terrible. Do they not know football? You're going for another striker, and what is the problem? Your midfield. All right, go ahead.
No, basically, I believe Martial and Cavani they are going to get rid of, right? And I think Rangnick doesn't see Rashford as a striker, and that's the key. And apparently, also in the last couple of days, Mason Greenwood has, again, these are reports that he's gone saying that, okay, I need more first team minutes as well. So there's a lot of talk going on. Of course, he's kind of planning for next season now, and that's part of the job as well. So again, with the Haaland, a lot of stories, a lot of them are untrue. We know that, but at the same time, I think Aubameyang, for me, as in the domino effect will not come because of Aubameyang. I think his time is kind of gone. Like honestly speaking, as in there are much better strikers around, and I think maybe Mbappe going, that's something that we'll see, and probably that will possibly tempt Haaland. As in it'll be interesting what's going to happen towards the end of this season. I think a lot depends, Brad. I think on the position of each club where they are in terms of the position that they finish as well as financially. So really looking forward to what happens. But yes, again, thanks for having Brad. Thanks for coming on, Brad. And yes, of course, Brad's links are below. Yes, he's active on Twitter, and that's where I found him. Of course, on Leicester Till I Die TV as well. Great channel. I always follow the channel, and they cover a lot of other clubs as well, not just Leicester, just like Almighty Blues FC does. And Michael talks football. Of course, he talks all football. Michael, go ahead and speak about your channel, and of course, anything that you would like to share as well.
Well, I just want to thank you for having me on. Try my best. I've been really sick for the last couple of days, but I needed to talk about football to clear my mind of the sickness that I'm feeling at the moment. And thanks for Brad for coming on as well. Very calm-headed person, I must say, about Brad. It's very, very elegant with his speech about certain clubs and about his club Leicester, of course. But yeah, you guys can find me, Michael Talks Football YouTube channel. I'm a Liverpool fan. Ankit knows that, but I don't make it about Liverpool with my football channel. I talk about all aspects when it comes to football, and including talking about the upcoming AFCON in a couple of weeks, where all the Liverpool fans are hating on it, but I actually quite enjoyed the tournament, and maybe Chelsea fans will hate it if Kepa doesn't play well in January. We'll find out. But yeah, thanks for having me on, and to all the Ocean Singh and Just Viola Sports Wires, thank you guys for tuning in. Don't worry, if Ankit invites me, if Chelsea beat Liverpool January 2nd, I'll be on. If he invites me, I'm not gonna hide. I take defeats. I'll be there. You better invite me if Liverpool beat Chelsea, though. You better invite me. That's all I expect.
Okay, deal. Okay. Again, we are going on record, people. It's a deal.
Yep.
But again, Michael, always welcome. Again, great to have you on. Of course, I just love his insights, and of course, Brad. It's been a long time, Brad, that you've been coming, but yeah, this is something that we always wanted to chat, and hopefully we'll have a lot more of these coming on. And yes, we are hoping for everyone to remain safe. Please do take care of yourselves, because I think that's the main thing amidst everything. As a lot of controversies that we spoke about, but at the end of the day, health comes first. So hopefully, everything kind of becomes normal. We don't want to go back where we were last year, and we speak basically as in a full-fledged kind of Premier League season come next month. And till next time, take care and thanks again.